You must always begin your morning with going over your schedule and your goals. Never, never, never just show up to work without that plan. You need to have that plan. And if you don't do that, yes, you can still hit high performance. Yes, you can still be great, but you will not be as consistent as you could be. I spend 20 minutes every morning just looking at the day. That amount of thought and intention that goes into it allows me to show up and do a lot of things you see me do. People always say,
geez, Brendon, you just show up and talk.
I'm like, yeah, but I probably gave it a good 20 minutes this morning of thought.
Oh my gosh, you get so much done.
Yeah, because you know what? When I was thinking that morning about the full day, I pushed away a bunch of things so I can refocus today to make sure that I finish some of that. So your morning has to be planned.
Need motivation? Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because I need them, because I want to wake up every single day and get pushed by somebody who's doing a lot more than me. And in watching their videos, it inspires me to be bolder, to have more courage, and to go chase down the life of my dreams. And I hope it does the same for you. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is embrace uncertainty.
Challenge yourself out there. Because when you challenge yourself, it puts you in that place of, I don't know how this is gonna go. That's where you belong more often. That's gonna bring life back. I don't know how this is gonna go. That's where life is. If you always know how it's gonna go, boredom lives there. If you always know how it's gonna go, the peddling of the self-help gurus who say you need certainty, that's where they're at. That's not how life really works. Those who remain curious, open, those are the ones who succeed further. They're learners. If you're always grasping at some adolescent desire for certainty, you're in the wrong group. Because I don't play at any levels, in the highest levels of the world, of anyone peddling certainty. What they're peddling is the reality. You need to be adaptive. You need to learn. Yes, trust yourself, but be curious. Challenge yourself. Be so curious about how it could be different. Do something new. And when you do that, I promise you, that's where life really is. Grasping to make it exactly as we want. Didn't we just fail at that the last 3 years? Didn't we just find out that doesn't work so good? When you try to, edict how the world has to be and how your relationships have to be and how people have to act, it doesn't always turn out so good. We need to be more adaptive, more flexible, more open, more curious, not just in our own lives to ignite ourselves, but I think in our relationships too. Sometimes you forget in your relationship, the persons that you love, you kind of forget. You don't pay attention to them anymore. You don't listen to what they want anymore. You don't know their goals anymore. You're not curious about them anymore. I know my wife. I know my husband. He's always this way. And then you put them in your little certainty and expectation box, and all of a sudden, they're not thriving in the relationship anymore because they can tell you're not genuinely interested anymore. So we've got to change. We've got to do things that are new.
Rule number 3 is discover your purpose.
What's your advice for people to figure out their purpose and their mission?
I really believe that there's 2 ways to explore this topic. First, your purpose is something you should already know is going to shift in definition throughout your life.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, I need to have one purpose. I'm like, you're gonna have multiple purposes throughout your life. Just let's start with that. If we can accept that, then life isn't so awful where you wander around all the time. How come I don't have my one thing? I'm like, you're gonna have a lot of things. At one stage, it might be your career. Another stage, it might be your family. Another stage, it might be your health. Another stage, it might be your marriage or your relationship. Another stage, it might be something else of service. And so just know that it's going to shift. And so if you're in a moment of transition or you don't know what it is, that's okay. Now, the research is pretty clear about how people claim to have found it. Usually, you're interested in something, right? There was a curiosity. You wanted to explore it. The exploration became a real interest where you started following it, looking at it. You were just kind of very interested in it. So you studied it, you watched it, you observed it, you followed it. That led into a little bit more of a deeper interest called a passion. You're like, wow, I'm passionate about this. I love this thing. I want to do something with this thing. That passion then bled into a sense of mission where you wanted to manifest that thing build that thing, do that thing, or serve in that way. And then you recognized how that thing that you were doing or passionate about had an impact on other people. And now you felt like you were contributing. And now that sense of contribution and that sense of interest and passion, now people call it, oh, that's a purpose for me. It's almost always that way. But a lot of people, they're like, well, Brendon, I don't even know what I'm interested in. I go, oh, great. Then if you don't know what you're interested in, then your job is to truly explore the world. Your job is to read widely, to follow a lot of people, to study a lot, to travel around your town, to meet lots of mentors, to adventure out into the world more broadly. And something, I promise you, will catch your interest. If you say a student of life and an adventurer of life. If you stay in student mode, you'll observe a lot. And once you observe a lot, you'll find an interest. And that interest will grow into a passion, into a mission, into a contribution, into a purpose. So if you're in that place where you just don't even know what your interest is, that's great. Explore. You'll be fine. You'll find it.
Rule number 4 is fill your life with aliveness.
The first thing that every single person wants, and you want to draw this triangle out on your notes. I want to see you taking notes. If you don't know these things, you can't sell and you can't build and you can't be happy. You can't find joy. The first thing that we all want is called aliveness. Aliveness. Think about why relationships die. No aliveness there. Think about why you went and worked out this morning. A greater sense of vibrancy and energy. Think about what they teach you when you're unhappy, to become more present, aware, flow. In my work, we just call it full engagement. To be fully engaged in the moment again. To get back into our body, into this moment, into this second. That's aliveness. Everybody wants it. And the craziest thing is how easy it is. This is what you sell. Does everyone understand that? Raise your hand. If you haven't understood that people are buying energy because they're burned out and they're exhausted, you haven't got quite in the flow yet. Everybody wants more aliveness. You can call it whatever you want. Vibrancy, presence, flow, even joy. You've heard the word passion. All of those positive emotional ranges are about being engaged in the moment in a positive emotion to feel more fully alive.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is monetize your passion.
What's your advice for people to start monetizing that interest, that passion, that mission?
Yeah. Well, it just depends on what they want to do. So whatever that purpose or that passion is, for sometimes monetizing, it means get a job in that industry.
True.
Sometimes that means literally go be an assistant. It's for someone already doing that. It means sometimes, become, volunteer in that space. Other times it means, no, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to monetize that knowledge or passion. I want to share it with the world and I want to work with them, whether that's coaching them, training them, teaching them, building a community for them, creating curriculum for a course or something else. I want to create something that adds value to other people and I want to charge money for it. And that, of course, is the whole creator economy or knowledge economy or influencer economy now, where most of us, we say, what am I passionate about? How do I think it can help people? And now I got to package it into some product or service they can buy. And that's just the world of entrepreneurialism. I know lots of people call it, thought leader industry or creator economy, but it's being an entrepreneur. It's saying, I have something that I know can add value And so let me build it, let me sell it, and let me build a lifestyle and a business from that. And I just encourage people, if you feel that impulse, you already know, do it. You already know. Entrepreneurs already know. You're passionate about it. You're geeking about it. Oh, I want to share this. I want to make money from this. I want to do this each day. You already know. Your job is to follow through.
Rule number 6 is set deadlines.
If you're really not doing well at creativity and creating, you need deadlines because you're allowing yourself to procrastinate. You're telling yourself a story that I'll get to it. It'll turn out great. I'll land on it. I'll wait for inspiration. If you talk to journalists or daily vloggers or daily or weekly bloggers, they don't have time to wait to create. They don't even have time to suffer the feeling of inadequacy that comes when you feel like you're not creating well. So you have all this time to stew. I'm not creating well. This isn't good. And you keep working to perfect it and perfect it and perfect it, and you hate yourself. They don't have time for that. And what I mean is they don't have time. There's just no time for them to go, oh, I feel bad about myself. I'm not creating, because it's due. When it's due, you don't get to suffer the creativity. You ever have that paper due in high school or college? And it was due, and it was 12 pages, 20 pages. You hadn't even started it until 6 o'clock. You sit down at 6 o'clock, you work to make that deadline. When you get there, you don't have time to go, oh, I wasn't creative enough. I'm just not creative. It's like, you get it done, you turn it in. So if you want to get rid of the suffering, set the deadline. Let me say it again. If you want to get rid of the suffering, set the deadline. It will change the game for you. You'll be so happy that you did that. I promise you. What we found in one of our surveys was that high performers set deadlines more consistently and frankly, what it seems like for every project, more so than underperformers. Underperformers just say someday, high performers know the day.
Rule number 7 is exercise.
Later in the research, we found out that the top 5% of the wealthiest, most successful, and happy people in the world are 40% more likely to work out 3 times a week than the other 95% of people, quote unquote, below them. Think about that. The top 5% of the most successful people in the world, not in my opinion, but an largest academic study of high performance that's ever been done, the top 5% are 40% more likely to work out 3 times per week than everybody else. Same true for those who recover from all sorts of challenges physically and mentally. You already know this, I'm preaching to the choir, but that's when I got it. Got my workout back in shape, got my mind back in shape by sharing some of the things I'll share with you today. And all of a sudden the aliveness started coming back. But the most important thing was I didn't make excuses about how crappy I felt.
Rule number 8 is go for a walk.
If you're just having a tough day, go for a walk. This is so basic. I know it sounds like, kitchen table wisdom, but it actually is a tremendous amount of creativity research with the highest arts, the highest level achievements of all artists, musicians, contributors, vloggers, across every realm possible. The highest achievers tend to go for a walk when they're stumped. And they do it proactively. Let me give you an example. Probably one person who I consider maybe the most successfully creative person in the world is Paulo Coelho. Paulo Coelho wrote The Alchemist, which many of you guys know. It's the 6th most read book in the history of the world now, The Alchemist. The 6th most read book in the history of the world. What does Paulo do? Follow him on Instagram. Every day, he goes for a walk. Every day. He has his daily walk, every single day. Every day, I walk outside a minimum of 20 minutes. Every day. The only times I ever miss that rule is if I'm at my live events, because I'm basically walking and putting on miles and miles and miles. But walk outside, yes, every day. Treadmill does not count. I don't care if it's raining, I don't care if it's snowing, go outside and walk. If you want to be a more creative person, you need to be out in the sun's rays, in the earth, walking, moving, light. You need to have real air on you. You need to get outside. especially when you're stuck. Here, if you're stuck, immediately, the moment you feel like you're stuck, get up, leave, go for a walk. Don't even have a goal for the walk. Goal is, I'm not creating well, stand, walk. I promise you, it will change your life. Give me a shout out, all the people, you already know this, we got a lot of high performers here. How many of you go for a daily walk, or when you suck, you get up and go for a walk because you know it will break your thinking pattern and it will generate new ideas? I'm curious to see how many walkers we have in our community, and I bet it's a ton. High performers walk. They literally do, and we know it from our surveys that they do it.
Rule number 9 is stop hiding from fear.
I've had so many fears in my life. I haven't overcome all of them. And then I started learning some simple ways to use my mind, some simple ways to deal with the fear, to turn into it instead of avoiding it. I know you already know that, but sometimes we need a reminder. I had terrifying fears of heights, of public speaking, of starting my own career as a writer and a coach and a teacher. Terrifying fear of being on video and stages. And now I've made that my career for a decade. But I was scared. And I didn't handle it well every time. But you know what? When you're scared and you don't handle it one time, that one time that you didn't do it right, that's supposed to be the teaching point, the training point, the readiness point. That's where you go, wait, I didn't deal with this well. What did I learn? Let me do it better next time. But the problem is most of the world said, I didn't do it right. That's terrible. That's embarrassing. I'm out, sucker. Yeah. Instead of saying, let me do it right next time, they said, I'm out. And there's probably been moments in your life where you did that too. I'm out. I quit. And other times you couldn't quit because the job, the career, your back was against the wall, someone was counting on you, you had that dream, you weren't gonna let it go. And even though it was hard, instead of saying, I'm out, you said, I guess I'm all in. And those moments changed your life, didn't they? Yeah. Those moments were everything. I want you to be here for those moments for you today. Even through my own stories, I want you to find those moments that are for you. Those moments where you go, oh, that's why I was here. Not just to hear from this guy, but to go, let me look at my life and think of where do I need to reinvent and when do I need to engage? Where can I engage the difficult things, the scary things, those things that make us vulnerable or threatened or defensive or antagonistic, to turn back in and engage those hard things again. I know it's pop psychology, except it really does work. You know, it really does work when we honor the struggle and the difficulty and we challenge ourselves through it. That changes everything. It's just not always easy.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is show up.
You got lots of reasons you're struggling. Still got to show up. I hate that I have to do that in my work. I've worked with parents who lost their kids to cancer. I've lost with teams in military who lost people on the battlefield. I've been in the locker room 3 times with the losing Super Bowl team. I shouldn't really say that in public. I think that might not help me out a little bit. I've been on the other side 4 times. I'm 4-3. I mean, hey, that's all right. I got to deliver the tough news. And you know what the tough news to everybody is always? I know it's hard. But showing up is still required to change. You're not the first one to lose a child. You're not the first one to get sick. You're not the first one to lose your dad or your mom. You're not the first one to lose a limb. You're not the first one to go bankrupt. You're not the first one to really struggle with this. See, our ego wants us to be the first one and wants to use the division of the separateness that the ego loves to say, I'm so different, I'm so wounded and hurt here, I can't. But if you study history and you work with people who really change and find that happiness, they decided they want more aliveness, and the only way to get it was to show up again, despite those things. The most impressive people I know, it's like, you don't know about this Jamie Kern-Lima. Let me tell you what, she's incredibly assertive. She will come up with an idea. She's asked me to do things or asked me to be part. No one's ever asked me before. And I'm like, ooh. And sometimes I go, that was pretty direct. And then my high performance brain kicks in. I'm like, that's awesome. Oh my God, Jamie, that's awesome. Shoot, no one's ever asked me that before. Ever, my entire life. You know what she asked at this event? You know what she asked at the event? She's like, can I have 4 hours on stage? Do you know how many people I've had on this stage in 15 years? Remember, some of you, you're new to my world. I've done this 8 times a year for 15 years. Tony Robbins been on my stage. Wayne Dyer's been on his stage. Marianne Williamson's been on my stage. The late, great Debbie Ford was on my stage. Larry King's been on my stage. Harvey McKay's been on my stage. Brian Tracy's been on my stage. Jack Canfield's been on my stage. Everybody, 7, 8, 9 billionaires have been on my stages. I've been doing this a long time. No one ever asked me that before. Ever. How badass is that? At first, I thought, what? What are you talking about? You know, because if you've done something you're comfortable, every new request seems crazy. But you know what? Those crazy requests change the world. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. Now, we had already had an agenda, so that wasn't going to work for this particular one. But she still got an hour more than she was going to get because she asked. Because she asserted herself. She goes, I want more time on stage. I'm going to ask for that. Does that make her crazy or bad or awful? No, it makes her successful. Where are you asserting yourself? Where are you asking the big questions? Where are you asking for the favors? Where are you pushing? That's what I want you to do. That's your next level and you don't even know it. This is part of the things I do with all my groups. Many of you guys know this. I even teach this sometimes in Growth Day, that I want to make sure you finish every single Friday. Part of your Friday finishers, you make a bold request. You don't finish a Friday without an email going out or a voice message going out with a bold request. Find that person on LinkedIn, email them, DM them, message them. You think, oh, no. I need to wait until I have 1 million followers. I need to wait until I have 100,000 downloads. I need to wait until we hit 5 million. I need to wait until we hit 50 employees. I'm like, no. Now. Make the bold requests now. Because later is perennial. Make those bolder requests sooner, faster. Get in it. Successful people are assertive people. Right now, when they're ready, they go over and over. I want you to be a little crazy once in a while. And allow yourself to do this. Hey, here's my question. Where are you lacking this? Is it your career? And sometimes I'm not lacking that. I go, okay, do you have any employees? Yeah. Any difficult employees? Yeah. Any employees you should have let go of 5 months ago, 6 months ago? Yeah. Okay, you're lacking that. Hey, you have a good dream? Any big ideas? Yeah. How long you had that idea? 3, 4, 5 months? Yeah. Have you done anything about it? Make any bold requests? Pushed it? Made it happen? Bought the thing? Invested? Gone? Yes? No? No? You're lacking that.
You know why a lot of people don't feel any purpose? They are not activating their potential. Let me say it again. You know why a lot of people don't feel purpose? They are not activating their potential. See, the more you sense your potential is up here, but the more your daily life is performing down here, that dissonance, that divide, that distance between daily realities and activated potential is often called, not just dissonance, but misery. And the more you're miserable or in pain, the more you can be detached from purpose. It's not that purpose only happens in positivity and yay stuff, but listen, it's a whole lot easier to sense it and feel it and celebrate it when you know you are activating your potential. The truth is that a lot of people, because they don't recognize that they're not activating their potential, they don't feel that in their heart, they don't feel pride, and they don't feel purpose. There has to be a realignment and a reactivation of your potential, right? I really want you to think about that. On a day like what I was talking about with Dave this morning is your daily actions are leading to a momentum. And that momentum each day is leading you towards a particular kind of destiny, a particular direction, a particular end game, a particular legacy, a particular style of life. So what is the momentum of your energies, of who you are being, how you are relating, and what you are creating each day leading towards? People always say that. I don't know where to start. You know what? My marriage is a disaster. I don't know where to start. Brendon, my health is a disaster. I don't know where to start. My career sucks. I don't know where to start. And so what they do is they say, well, I don't know where to start. Seems overwhelming. I'll just stay here. Even if here is misery. See, people's fear of the unknown and their inadequacy in being able to learn or handle something makes them stay where they're at, even when where they are at is terrible. You know, many of you know I've worked with people who are in domestic abuse situations, and it's easier to stay there sometimes, even though there is misery and harm and danger there, because they don't know what to do. They don't know what they would do without that other person. They don't know what they do out there in the world. And so they feel stuck. And that first step, which would seem so obvious, get out of this situation that's harming you. They can't make that leap because they don't believe in themselves. You see how these all tie together? Even though they have the direction, get out of house and be safe. Disbelief is killing that progress. Yeah, but I'm unworthy. I guess I deserve this. I can't handle life out there. I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to start. I wouldn't know how to get a job. I wouldn't know what to do next. And when people don't progress because they don't know what to do, we definitely need inspiration. We need volunteers. We need support. We need, free content. We need a kind neighbor. We need better programs that help them realize you can take that first step. You can take that first step. And please realize that knowing the first step, you already got it. Everyone else, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what's one thing you could do? What's the first obvious thing you could do? And that's all they have to do. You don't have to know every step. You just need to know the next right action of integrity and health for yourself. Do that, right? People don't begin a diet program because they go, oh my God, a program. I'm like, what's the first thing you could do? I guess I could throw out the chips. Throw out the chips. I don't mean to be too heavy today. The simplest, elegant, first right action of integrity and health for yourself. Do that. Do that. People are like, well, I can't start working out until I get my full gym equipment in the gym. I'm like, there's a sidewalk out front. Do you have shoes? You have shoes? Go walk, go run, go jog. Simple. Get in motion.
Everyone gets this wrong in personal development. They just haven't done the work. They tell you, you want meaning. That's how you know a beginner in personal development versus the pros. I know a lot of people who have meaning in their life. They have a great job. They got 2 great kids. They have an amazing spouse or partner. They're doing something. Some of you guys know, I actually started my first seminars for nonprofit leaders, if you didn't know. My first real seminars were teaching nonprofits how to partner with entrepreneurs to raise more money, and entrepreneurs how to partner with nonprofits to spread a message or be part of a mission. Those are my first seminars, working with nonprofits. Do you know how many nonprofit leaders around this world still call me every single week? They're nonprofit leaders, and they're unhappy. They're saving lives in other countries, and they're unhappy. And when we get into it, what's going on there? There's a difference between meaning, having meaning, or generating meaning, and meaningful pursuits. Let me tell you this, if you lost the pursuit in your life, that's the difference between the comfortable life and the charged life. The pursuit of something greater or harder, the challenge, the push, that part where you have to extend yourself beyond the comfort into the demand. It makes you feel alive. It makes you find flow and challenge and difficulty of contribution. If contribution is too easy for you, the meaning will never make you feel fulfilled. Let me say it again. If your contribution is too easy for you, the meaning that you could have there will never make you feel fulfilled. You always wonder, why am I not fulfilled? Because you're doing something that is too easy for you. The human psyche drives for competence, and the development of that competence, as we will talk about in a moment. So I know amazing people, they don't feel fulfilled because they lost the hunt. That's what we call it in Montana. I don't know, other metaphors, someone help me out. The hunt, the pursuit, right? You're not driving for something anymore. You're doing something, but you're not driving for something that matters to you. Live, love, matter. You got to drive something that matters to you. If it doesn't matter to you, it could be so meaningful. And you could be doing something meaningful, but if you're not stretching, if there's no pursuit, we lost the edge. And as soon as we lost the edge, we're back in the comfortable life, and we don't know why. And then we're bored, and then we're disconnected, and then we're in the cage, and then we're resentful, and then we're bitter, and then we think those bastards don't understand, and we're the animal in the back of the cage. This is so important. What's the pursuit? What's that contribution you're gonna go after? It might be a little outside your comfort zone. It might be a little bit much. And I know people get really hooked about the contribution word. Does that mean I need to change the world? I'm like, no. What's the contribution? Listen, there can be creative contribution. Making art is a contribution, right? Giving, serving, yeah, you can write checks, you can volunteer, but volunteerism isn't the only way of contributing. Contributing sometimes is being an unbelievable mom. Contributing sometimes means getting involved locally again. Contributing sometimes being a great leader at work, where you stop just doing your work and you see the other people at work and you work together and you're pursuing something, the drive that. A lot of companies, when I work with them, I'm like, oh, you all lost your pursuit. You became an organizational stagnant company. There's no pursuit. There's no edge there anymore. We gotta get that performance edge back in the culture, and all of a sudden people are like, woo, they're alive again.
Alignment is everything. If you read High Performance Habits, that story in there of that incredibly successful woman, realizing that achievement wasn't her problem. Alignment was. Most of you, you're amazing. To be doing personal development, you're an amazing person. You're probably already good at checklists and goals. You probably already get stuff done. You're probably the person in your community, excuse me, or your family who you happen to be that person who's a little more motivated, or, you try a little harder, or you want better for your life than other people. Other people might think that personal development is silly, or that your emphasis on, getting things done is like, why do you have to be such a perfectionist? And why do you have to try so hard? You probably get this from other people around you. If you're in this community, I'm guessing. So you're amazing. Your next level isn't just being more productive. It's being effective at the right things that support the dream. That's what I mean by alignment. You can already get a lot done. The issue is removing the things that are not bringing value or progress towards the dream experience. It's about really analyzing my time, energy, resources, money, efforts, sanity, and am I applying those things in alignment with the dream? Or am I aligning to lots of other actions and other people's obligations? It's such a breakthrough. It's like and this is so easy. I'm not trying to be doing a session here with so philosophical with you. If I came into your house and we just look at your calendar for the next 6 months, it's either going to show there's alignment towards something you're trying to experience and create, give, manifest in your life, or it's blank, or it's filled with a bunch of blocks of time for things that don't bring you joy or creativity or fulfillment or connection or growth. And I don't mean just your 9-to-5s. I mean just life. Right? We are either planning to live and build the dream life, or we're just going through emotions. That's the stuff of alignment.
How does one begin to change?
Yeah.
What is the catalyst for that? How does one, in your opinion, begin to change?
Well, in the old books of personal development always answer that by it's either inspiration or desperation, which we know. I'm a little more, I guess, framework driven than that.
Yeah.
I think that at some point, all change, it's inspired by ambition, which is funny because people today think ambition's this bad thing.
Yeah.
But ambition, whether you call it desire or drive, or you feel like you must, or in psychology, we call it psychological necessity. Like I feel like it's necessary. Like it's necessary now. There's no choice. There's no going back. There was a threshold. There's something. Not everyone needs a car accident, because you know how many people I've told that story to, millions of people in person, live on stadiums and arenas, or, 500 million people on video views now. It's I'm sure a lot of people say, I was in a car accident too. My car accident was even more dramatic than yours, because they lost a limb or they were disabled, but I didn't change.
Yes.
I didn't change, Brendon. Why? And ultimately comes back to psychological necessity. And we can think about it a couple different layers. One layer is that you are the way that you are because of what we all call the comfort zone, right? There's comfort in who we are, how we behave, I should say, our natural strengths, talents, abilities, just who you are already. That's just your comfort zone. That's how you are. But what happens for other people, there's a layer above that, and they shift because now there's a demand zone. Circumstances demand you change.
Yeah.
Your dreams demand that you change. Something external demands that you change, or you place the demand on your own shoulders because you want a different kind of life. Most people are scared to demand anything from themselves.
Yeah.
And most people, when a demand hits them, it feels like an obligation and they fight it. They resist it. I don't want that. You're at work. Don't give me more stuff to do. How dare my manager ask me more? They fight. As soon as a demand approaches them, it's a threat.
True.
Other people just teach themselves because they're into growth. A demand approaches them. That's challenge. That's character development. Let me see if I can rise to that. So the approach to demand and how we view that as a threat or as a challenge is a fundamental mindset or choice of attitude. And then above that, there's another layer, which is why don't people change? And which oh my gosh, every episode you do, I feel like there's a masterclass on that. And that's what we call the esteem zone.
Okay.
Esteem zone. A lot of people have, comforts and abilities. They could be remarkable. They have the natural talents. Other people have lots of demands on top of them. They still don't change. Why? Esteem.
Yeah.
How they view themselves, value themselves, express themselves, relate themselves to the world. They, even though they have so much opportunity or so many natural talents, because how many gifted people do we know who never potentialize that gift?
So many.
Because their esteem, their value of themselves, their view of themselves, their belief in their ability to figure things out is so low that it doesn't matter. You could give them the greatest challenges, resources, tools, support, but no one ever cared for them. And they never taught themselves to care for themselves.
There you go.
So how can they change?
If you're trying to manage team or family, frankly, right? So family or team, I'll just say team, but your team might be your family. Your team might be paid employees. Your team might be people at work. Number one rule, if you're the leader, is this. You've got to establish the rhythm of the company, the rhythm of the family, the rhythm of the team. What does that mean? It means everybody on your team needs to know what they should be doing every single week. That's the job. What should people do? That's their week. These are the major activities that they should be doing each week to maintain sanity, order, revenue, operations. Your rhythm is like your maintenance rhythm. It's like this just has to happen. This is the bare minimum we all have to do every single week. And every person on every role should know their rhythm. There's a rhythm. That's your meeting cadence that you set up for yourself or for your team. It's the output cadence that you're setting up for yourself or your team. I just call it the rhythm. And everyone should know what their rhythm is, and they should know what their counterpart, their team, their others, what are we all doing here? The more that you can establish that rhythm to meet the objectives of the team, again, that's whether you're a family or your team that you're at with work, the better. So you always start with, what are we trying to do? Right? What are we trying to do? Let's build a rhythm for that. Once we know what we're trying to do and there's a rhythm for that, everything starts to fall in place.
I want to make an impact. I want to help people. You know what the worst thing is when you're trying to help someone and your mind is kind of blinking out?
Yeah.
Because you didn't take care of yourself. You didn't eat good.
Yeah.
You didn't care about your sleep. I work with athletes, high performers, business people who they regret those moments and those days where they allowed themselves to burn out or they didn't care for themselves, because it shows up on the scoreboard. It shows up in your bank account, but mostly it shows up in how you treat people. I always tell people, if you won't take care of yourself for yourself, take care of yourself so you're less rude to other people.
Yeah.
Because guess what? When you're tired, science shows you're more irritable.
So you want to feel more confident in life? Reconnect with yourself and others. With yourself, that's your morning routine. Lock in that morning routine. The more you feel connected to self, the more confident you are. But you need the time to connect to yourself, away from the email, the social media, the obligations for the kids, the family, the husbands, the spouses, the team, everything else. You need that moment where you're like out and connecting with yourself, with your thoughts. You need time to think and to feel again. So turn off the TV, go for the walk. Put down the phone, do the meditation. Get away from the social thing 10 minutes earlier so you can sit in the car and just think before you go home. You need more space to be thinking and connecting with self. Why is it everyone who ever had some type of, midlife crisis had to go away? They had to go away so they could connect with themselves. Why do you go to a spa? To change up your environment and lock in and feel your mind, your thought, your body once more. So build that in your life, self-connection.
I would be a person who, my natural tendency would give me all the potato chips, give me all the pizza, give me all the bad food 24/7. But the effect of it doesn't align with my energetic vision. And I know when I do those things and I feel terrible the next day, it's so out of alignment for what I want energetically in my life, my self-respect goes down. I get down and I'm less productive, happy. Does that make sense? Very key to understand. Very key to understand. That's for me. Again, I'm sharing you my things. Another thing I know feels good for me, because people always ask, I'm like massive amounts of water and electrolytes every day. I really believe most people are so dehydrated, they have no idea that most headaches, as an example, are tied to dehydration. Most people have no idea that their physical stiffness and inflammation happens because they're not having enough water go through their body. A lot of people are so dehydrated and they're shocked when you just drink some more water and really? And they start doing that, this changed my life, oh my God. And now they have fancy little bottles all around the house and they carry them along with them, I think it's important that most people realize how critical hydration is to their lives. So I have to learn that. I also know that what feels good to me is a body that's not inflamed by terrible diet or things that I drink or consume that increases inflammation. As inflammation goes up, fatigue goes up. As inflammation goes up, weight goes up. As inflammation goes up, life expectancy goes down. You want to find one or two main culprits of dis-ease in our health, physically, inflammation. A high inflammation diet kills you sooner. So we have to figure out we have to study what are the things that inflame my body. That's partially knowing what you might be allergic to, right? Your food allergies, as an example. But also just the basics of understanding certain things that you eat or consume tends to elevate your level of inflammation. And if you don't know what those are, see a dietitian, a nutritionist, go read some books, watch some videos on YouTube about anti-inflammation diets. And you'll see it completely changes your life. It did for me.
Some of the best celebrations you'll ever have is if you just sit with something for a minute. Take it in. I was with a friend recently who bought a new house, and they had this great back porch, and they were showing me the new house. And we were walking around the new house, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. They're talking about all the remodels and stuff they were going to do. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. We went back to the back porch, and they were just kind of showing around, and they were, and we're going to do this in the yard. I said, come over here. I said, what are you doing? I said, come here. And I had them sit down on the steps of the back porch. I said, look at all this. I bet this was a dream of yours once, to have a house like this. Oh yeah, it was. Tell me about that. And he shared about his journey of the house he grew up in, which most of you and I would call a shack. And he told the story of how he had, paid for himself, the first member of his family to go to school, first member of his family to get like a big job, first member of his family to give back to his community, first member of his family to have a house like that. And he was in that moment of just sharing everything he's going to do. And I just made him sit down and integrate it, take it in. And so I said, literally, hey, let's just sit here for a minute. Just take this in. This is a big win for you in your life. You should celebrate this. Just take it in. And if you ever hung out with me, I do this a lot. I'm going to make you stop all the moments. We're just going to take it in. If we have a big breakthrough together, we're going to sit together. We're going to take it in. If we're, if I'm out with my friends or my family, it's like we're going to take that moment. We're going to find a moment. Just take it in. You got to integrate it. Take it in. Allow yourself to feel. Otherwise, you'll never feel fulfilled.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome.
For 10 more amazing rules from Dean Graziosi, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
We must have a passionate why. We must have a why that disturbs us, because if not, we fall back into old patterns. There's no way around it. It's easy to get in a hypnotic rhythm of life to look and say, I want those other things, but not actually